Hello everyone, this is Lisa with Grace and Old Paper. It's been a little while again. As you know, I'm a very sporadic crafter, but I've decided to get back in here because I've got a project to do. A friend of my daughter is having a baby and I've decided to make a baby journal for her. And I'm going to make it the way I do my Christmas journals for my daughter, which is out of a Cheez-It box. So what I've done, and I kind of want to walk you through these steps, is I've actually cut it down just a little bit. So I cut it open and cut this end off. And then I've actually cut it down just a little bit to make it a little more narrow. The piece I cut off the end, I have adhered in here. So it's double thick on the spine. I don't know if that shows, but it's double thick on the spine. So it gives it some rigidity and a little more stability, so a little more long lasting. And then I glued that in very well with my Fabri-Tac, and so it's in there, it's not going anywhere. And then I'll also put in some Tyvek tape, which comes in a roll. I got it from my hardware store. Stuff is so tough, so tough. So I've got that in there, and then I scuffed that Tyvek tape up with some sandpaper so that glue will adhere to it a little better. I have also been working on the cover, and this one has been a labor of love. It has taken me a while. I actually worked on it for quite a while because we had family visiting, and I just kept the project in my living room, and every once in a while I'd sew on it. So what I have done is I made a very kind of crazy quilt to go on the front. This is all from scraps I had, and some of them were little bitty scraps, which is why I have a few little bitty pieces in. You can see here, and some of these I don't even know where I ended up with them. Like I would get sewing boxes and sewing things from, estate sales and yard sales and thrift stores and stuff, and invariably there's always some kind of scraps in the boxes, and so I have put it together with all the scraps. Is everything perfectly, all the squares perfectly the same? No. Kind of intended it to be that way. It makes it a little more, I don't know, to me it's a little more homey, a little more vintage looking. I don't know, I'm sure people make perfect quilts all the time, but I didn't intend this to be a perfect quilt. Like you see, this row is narrower than the other ones, but that's because the pieces I had were little, but I wanted them to go in there. So anyway, what I did is I machine sewed all of the little squares together first. And then what I use for before I put the fabric on here, I always adhere some batting on there, and this is what I use. I get it from Walmart. It's just a thin batting that is like this, and so it's not very thick, and I usually adhere it with spray adhesive onto the box, and then I'll put my fabric on top. But this time, since I was quilting it, I cut the piece, and that's what I actually quilted it to. Took quite a long time. I do have issues with this joint right here. My doctor says it's arthritis in that joint. And so hand sewing, especially through some of the thicker joints and corners and stuff, gets a little tough on me. So every once in a while, I do some, and then I take a break, and I do some, and I take a break. And then somewhere along the line, I lost my way. And so I had to go back very meticulously at the end and make sure every square had stitches around it. And lo and behold, I found a couple like in the midst of the thing that hadn't had it. So I had to go back in and fix that. So anyway, I have got this ready to go. So this is ready to adhere to the outside of the journal. As for the inside, I have discovered I really like using fabric. I did that with my daughter's Christmas journal this year and absolutely loved it. So while she was here visiting me, she helped me pick out some fabric for the inside, and this is what I'm going to use. I have taken time. You can see, let me show you. You can see, I think it looks really, really good with this. Probably looks better in person than it does on camera, but to us it coordinates. Doesn't totally match, but coordinates. Especially the feel of the quilt. So because I don't know it, not country. I don't know how you describe it. I just kind of homey and comforting. That's the way it feels to me anyway. So I have taken time to press over on all 4 sides. And what I love about this fabric is because it has the lines in it. I just followed the line and I lucked out that by doing that, I was able to make it fit all the way around. If I can get it. So it will end up just perfect. I think so anyway. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to use spray adhesive on this. When I did the Christmas journal, because I used a very light fabric, I ended up painting the outside of this because it's so bright red. But I don't need to do that this time because with all this, you can't see through anything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spray adhesive this, and then you have to pretty quickly attach this. And because my husband is very sensitive to smells, chemical smells, any kind of smells really, he's very sensitive to all that. I'm going to step outside on my porch and I'm going to spray this, and I will come right back and we will stick it together. So I will be right back. Okay, I've got it sprayed. I don't know if you can tell that, but I do. All right, so I'm going to have to try to, because I've got that, what do you call it? The batting. I've got it cut to just the way I want it. So I'm going to have to line it up as best I can and stick it on here. Now that being said, if I need to pick it up real quick and move it, I can. Because I don't need it to, I don't have to have it stick perfectly, if that makes any sense, because I'm going to sew around the edges. So I want to make sure I get it stretched and on here just the way I want it. Also going to check the spine and see if that lines up. It's a little off to me. So I'm going to give this a good little tug. Kind of straighten it out some. I am notorious for getting things slightly crooked. It is just my thing, apparently. So if something is crooked on my journals, that's just the way it is. That's just how I make it. Okay. It's not perfectly centered, which, yes, is bothering me. So here we go. Let's do it this way. Oh, this is going to be hard. This is going to be hard. There. And there, maybe. Okay. Now, when you move stuff on this adhesive, it will not be permanent, because the longer it sits there, the less tacky, sticky it is. So, but that's okay. Like I said, I'm going to sew around all the edges. It will not be going anywhere. All right, let's see how that looks. Oh, that's pretty good. Look. I love it. It's got a little ducky. I had such tiny little pieces of that, so it's only got like one here and one down here. I think that's all I have. That and this, I had very tiny bits of this. There's some very vintage of this. I had very tiny amounts of that. But I loved the fabrics and I loved how they all went together. Okay, so the next step, now that we've got this adhered on here, good enough for now, is I'm going to flip this over. And boy, I barely got it around here, didn't I? Barely. Let me make sure it's on there good. Now, see how I've got it here? It's not coming all the way down to the bottom. So that means this side needs to come up. And it needs to be tilted downhill just a bit. I sure wish I could spray glue in the house, because I would spray a little more on here. See if I can get this to go right. You're probably screaming at me going, no, no, pull it this way, pull it this way. It is what it is. Okay. See if that looks any better. Yes, that gives me a little bit more here to flip over. I just sewed things together and it ended up a little crazy, but it's okay. Give me just a second. I hear somebody at my door. Okay, I am back. Let me tell you, a little craziness went on while I was gone. Got my door situation handled. And then I came back and I was just looking at this before I started working, and I realized I had messed up. I had it to where this seam right here was slightly crooked this way. So this seam was over the edge to where you couldn't see it. This seam was hanging on here. So I had that crooked. And I did not like how that was going to make the front look at all. So peeled this thing off, tried to readjust it a couple of times, got very frustrated. So finally I decided I added a strip of this backing on here. So this is not actually sewed to it, but it is glued to it. It is glued to that fabric, and now it is glued to this. So you won't even feel it, you won't know it, but that gave me the ability to shift it. And I had also realized that in all my finagling, that I had this a little wrong. So now this looks good to me. I like the way this is sitting. This, when I redid it while I was off camera, I had it to where this was right at the edge. It didn't like that. So now this is sitting right here, which is good. This one's sitting here. The back won't matter, that it is folding in a good spot. The front, this is the back. So this is folding in a good spot. This one doesn't matter. So now I think everything is ready to go. Some days I got my crafting-ish together, and some days I don't. So now I will go about cutting some of this excess off. I realized as I was quilting, I was like, wait a minute, I'm going too far up. I didn't need to go that far, but it is what it is. All right, so now I'm going to cut some of this excess off, and then we're going to fold it over, and I'm going to glue it. So let me go ahead and get some of this cut off. It feels funny to be cutting through all those seams, but I have to. I also realized when I was putting the panels together and everything, I realized that I'd actually taken the design up too far. So I had sewn on pieces that didn't need to be sewn on. I had to cut. There was a little piece where I had joined at the top. This one's okay. This needs to be cut off. Y'all, I get so nervous when I'm doing this, even though I'm just sitting here talking to myself. I'm always so nervous. You know, I keep telling myself, I don't even have to upload the videos. I can just make these. I can do a flip through at the end, and good enough. But I like putting the process out there sometimes. My youngest daughter says that she wants to actually make a journal with me at some point, because, and it is true, she loves the journal so much. She said that, and it's terrible to think about it, you know, I won't live forever. And so she would like to know how to make them. if she can. Which I think is a good idea. Pass on that knowledge, right? Okay, I don't know if I can do this, but actually I don't like the way this stuff carries over, so I'm going to try to peel some of it back and cut some of it off, because it just makes it harder to fold over. It's like I feel like I'm doing and redoing today. And some days are just that way, you know. Some days you have projects that works really good, and some days they just don't. But that's okay. That's crafting, right? Okay, peeled that back a little bit, and I'm going to use my not fabric scissors, because this has glue on it, and I don't really want the glue on my good fabric scissors. So we're going to do it with the ones that don't cut as well. I'll be so happy when I get past the cover. I've had fun making this one. Just this part of it's a bit nerve-wracking. All right, let's see if that's any better. Got a little thick right there. I have glue all over me now. That's gonna have to do. Okay, and that should fold over okay. I wish I could get that off, but I cannot. So, okay. All right, so what I'm going to use to, basically what I'm doing is tacking this down, because after this I'm going to put the interior fabric on, tack it down, and then I'm going to sew all the way around the edges. So it doesn't have to be, you know, 100% perfect here. But I am going to use, I believe, my Fabri-Tac. Okay. Get this stuff moving. And I think I will actually start right here in the middle. And I don't need a heavy coat of it. I don't want a heavy coat of it. I want just enough to hold it in place. Boy, I have some shadows going, don't I? The sun is coming in from this way really, really bad right now. I may have to shut my blinds because, wow, that's bright. It was just overcast a while ago, and now the sun is shining right there. Let me see if I can adjust that real quick. There, that should be better. Just shut my curtain just a little bit. Okay. The corners, I'm always not really great with the corners, so I'm gonna have to play with that a little bit. Fabri-Tac sticks fairly quickly, which is a good thing, and sometimes a bad thing. I'm not going all the way to the corner because I need a little room to be able to do the corners, if that makes sense. I've got to be able to play with it a little bit. I think I will get some clips to hold this down. Oh boy, let me tell you, that motion right there with these things hurts. But unfortunately, I am right-handed. And so this, you know, that's the hand I typically do this with. My doctor told me, he said, well, You're just going to have to find different ways of doing things, you know, that with this hand. And I was like, but I do paper crafts. He just kind of looks at me like, well, I'm not sure what to tell you. So I do the best I can. Crazy thing is, it doesn't look bad. Like, you can't really see it a lot, but the knot is going all the way down in here. And sometimes it just hurts all on its own. Like, I'll be doing nothing and it'll hurt. But that happens when you get older, I suppose. Okay, so now my choice here is to try to fold it to the edge of the cardboard, or to try to keep it here. My issue is that joint of fabric. So I think I'm gonna let it fold the way it wants to fold here, which is kind of to the edge of that batting. And I think it'll be just fine. I'll pull it as snug as I can, but this is kind of one of those situations where it is what it is. You know? You do the best you can. Just want to get an initial little stick down, and then I'll put the clips on it. Because it is under a little bit of stress here. And I'm putting it on where the two fabrics join. Okay. And right there. Okay. I'll have to get some more clips down, I'm afraid. Get some black ones. Doesn't matter what color they are. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to start in the middle again. Give that just a minute. I know it's just like watching paint dry, isn't it? Kind of dull and boring. I don't have a whole lot to talk about most of the time. I have two daughters. One lives about 20 minutes away, which is not terrible. The other one lives 5 hours away, which is terrible. And so I have grandchildren here and there. But I recently got to see the two that live far away, so that was nice. But when they left, my oldest grandson, who is just barely 8, he did not handle that separation well, and neither did his grandma, to be honest. We both cried. I do get to see them. I don't know, we try to, go over there about every 3 months. My husband and I, he has to take off work, so we go when we can. They come over here a couple of times a year. The kids are in school. Her husband has to work. She has to work, that kind of thing. So we do what we can when we can. But I do see them on FaceTime all the time. which is a good thing. Oh, those really hurt. Okay. And then we do this side. It takes a while to do this, but it's worth it in the end. I've discovered I really like doing this style journal. I started out doing the, repurposing a hardback book and making the hidden hollowback spines on the inside. And I still can do those. But these are just so much easier, and they're fun and to me quicker. Like I said, and easier to make. And I love the way they feel, because when you're holding it, it just has some give and movement to it, which I love the feeling of. And according to my daughter, they're easier to journal with as well, which is a good thing. All right. Last side. Yay. Okay. It took me, I've had the idea of making her a journal for quite a few months, since right after I found out she was pregnant. But it took me a little while to come up with an inspiration for a cover. I just kept looking through, what I had, and nothing was really inspiring me at all. And I just couldn't figure out what to do and where to get started on it. Until finally, one night, I don't sleep well, by the way. I just don't sleep well. I sometimes sleep for 3 to 4 hours and then I'm awake, and so I take sleep medication a lot, but I still wake up even with the sleep medication. But anyway, one night I had woke up and it was like 3 o'clock in the morning. I was laying there trying to get back to sleep, and of course my brain is just going 90 to nothing. And for some reason, it just kind of came to me in the middle of the night, oh, use a lot of those fabrics you've got, those scraps, and make a quilted cover. And I thought, well, that sounds like fun. Did I get up in the middle of the night and start working on that? No. But I had the idea anyway. Okay. I think I could probably take this first side off. Let me put my lid back on my glue for now, or it will just dry up right there in the top. This stuff's fantastic, by the way. I get mine from Walmart. Sometimes they don't have this size in the store, but Walmart, a lot of times if you put it on your grocery order, because I do the grocery ordering on the phone, and so a lot of times if you put it on your grocery order, they will ship it to you for free. So they did that for me, so that's how I was able to get that. I think you can probably order it on Amazon too. You can order most everything on Amazon, can't you? Okay, so that's stuck good enough there. I went this way. I'll go ahead and undo these two sides, and then I will work on some corners here. Okay. Okay, corners are just not my strong suit, but we're going to go for it, okay? So I've heard, cut it at a 45-degree angle, which I probably didn't cut that close enough. Just a little bit more, okay. And they will start with one corner, and then we will fold up the other one way or another. There we go. I think I like it better that way. Okay. Well, I put the glue lid back on. Okay, we're going to pull this up. Hold that there a second, and then we're going to fold that over. It's going to show that corner. Which one I bet? I'll tell you, I'm not the best at corners. I always tell myself, don't panic. If it gets too bad, I could put some corners, some of the metal corners on. which I like the look of a lot of times, and I've got so many of them. I think I ordered a pack on Amazon and it came with like so many in different sizes and different styles. Okay, some glue here. Look, see, my glue's starting to get stopped up because I've been having the lid off too long. There we go. Okay. I'm going to pull that just as snug as I can right there. Hold that just a minute. Y'all, we had Christmas here recently, and my mother gave me the cutest little, I had it on my Christmas list, my Amazon list, and she saw it on there and got it for me. And I didn't realize it was as small as it is, but oh my gosh, it's just the cutest thing. Y'all, look at this little Bluetooth speaker. Is that not the cutest thing? And boy, let me tell you, it puts out some sound. I love this little speaker. Love, love, love it. And pink is, excuse me for making noise, pink is my kind of accent color here in my craft room. I love pink. Pink and purple. Okay, is it perfect? No. But I've still got the other fabric to put on and still sew around the edges. So I am going to put a clip or two here. Put these to kind of hold this as steady as I can. Okay. All right, we'll just keep working our way around. You know, I watch videos all the time. I don't know about y'all, but I watch videos all the time of different people crafting and excuse me if I got my head in that. And I watch them, and they just have so many interesting things to say, and I'm like, I don't. I've thought about crafting silently and just letting the silence speak for me. And that's always an option, I guess. I'm actually an introvert. I am actually completely comfortable in my own home here. I don't go to work anywhere, and I sit here in my house. I get out a couple of times a week. I have to go get my grandson, my oldest grandson, from school on Monday and Tuesdays. And so, you know, I do get out of the house then, and then at least one other day a week going with my sister-in-law to the pharmacy, which one or the other of us usually has to go to the pharmacy or her bank, or we'll go pick up a grocery order. So exciting, right? But that's life around these here parts. It's just the way it is. And I'm comfortable with it. I'm comfortable sitting here. You know, a lot of times I'll read or watch videos and do a little crafting. And I'm just comfortable here in my home. But that's okay. All right, this is getting to be a little difficult here. I wish I could get somebody to come here and just teach me how to do corners, because they are my downfall. And you're like, but you're on YouTube doing this stuff. You should know how to do it. I should. But I don't. I started out doing this YouTube channel back when I was having a lot of mental health issues, depression, anxieties and stuff, and you're like, okay, well, why are you putting yourself out there on YouTube? And you know, I don't know. I just was desperate for something different in my life and something to get me out of the slump I was in. And I thought, and I fell in love with junk journaling. I really did. I found a video back when I was really having some issues, and was sitting there late one night watching YouTube videos, and I ran across, I think you say her name is Johanna. She's from Australia, and she does beautiful journals, beautiful. And I fell in love with the craft so much. And the next morning when my daughter got up, because I was staying with her at the time, the one that lives 5 hours away, I got up and I was telling her all about it, and I made her watch the videos. And so anyway, I was like, you know, I want to try doing that. And so I just kind of fell down the rabbit hole of doing these journals. And then I thought, you know, maybe I'll try to put some on YouTube. Maybe I can do that for something to do, you know. And I used to do them a whole lot more than I do now. But I realized that I was putting the pressure on myself to do it, and that wasn't making me happy. So now I just do it when I do it. That's the way it is. They say that to stay current on the algorithm, you have to put out frequent and regular videos. Keep a schedule. That's not me. And I'm okay with that. Do I get less views? Do I get less likes? Yeah. I'm also not one that's going to ask everybody every time I make a video to like and subscribe and all that kind of stuff. You know, if you watch my videos and you like it, fine. If you watch 5 minutes of it and move on to something else, that's fine too. If you never come back to my channel, that's fine too. I'm putting these out here. A couple of my grandchildren, the ones that live 5 hours away, my daughter will put my videos on TV sometimes, and they'll come in the room and they're like, "That's Grandma." Yeah, it is. So if for no other reason than that, and for posterity, which is just a silly thing, but hey, it is what it is, and I'm okay with it. So if you're here watching this video, thank you. Thank you very much. If you stayed at the end, that's super awesome. If you feel like going right now, that's okay too. As we say in our family, you do you. And you do what makes you happy. Right now, this is making me happy. Am I nervous filming this video? Heck yes. And I don't know why. Like I said, I can just not upload it. That's always an option. And I'll watch them back. I'll watch them before I upload them. And then I'm like, wow, that sounded really silly. Why did I say it like that? Or why did I do that? So I second guess myself all the time. And have there been videos that I have made that I have not uploaded? Mm-hmm. Sure have. Quite a few. But that's okay too. I have found out, especially in this day and time, with all of the turmoil and upheaval and everything we've got going on, if you find something that makes you happy and that relieves some stress, and you know you enjoy doing, do it. Do it. If you see a light blinking, that's another story. If you see a light blinking at any time in my videos, or hear a beep 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 noise, we have it's happened last year. My husband had somebody come in and put we have alarm system now, and then also had them put in light flashers for me, because I have lost quite a bunch of my hearing, and it had gotten to the point where my husband walking in at some point in time, he could walk in the house and I would never hear him come in, and so he would actually scare me half to death when he come walking up to me because I wouldn't hear him. And it was really terrifying me to think that somebody could come in my house and I wouldn't even know they were here. It's literally that bad. You can come walking up on me and I won't even know you're there until you tap me on the shoulder. So we got this alarm company come in, and so there are flashers on all my doors when they get opened up, and so I can tell I have flashers in several places around my house, and it just lets me know that somebody has opened a door, which I love. My youngest grandson, he loves to see the lights blink. He just turned 3. No, he's 3.5 now. Excuse me. He's 3.5 now. And he loves it when the lights blink. Sometimes he would try to open a door just to see the lights blink. And it has helped us too when they're in town, to keep him from sneaking out a door, because he's a very rambunctious little fella, and oh, that hurts so much. We could tell, like, we have what we call a boys' room. It's at the other end of my house, and it does have an exterior door on it. And we could tell when he happened to get the door open. We used to have a doorknob protector on it. Well, he got smart enough he could figure out the doorknob protectors. And so he would open that door, and we could always tell. And so we'd go, running to find out where he went. So that it does help that a lot. But anyway, that just helps me so much. And then the alarm also does a beep, beep, beep. But sometimes especially if I've got like headphones on or I'm listening to something, I won't hear that, but I will see the flash. Okay, so let's see how this one looks. This one should have set up good enough now. Is it perfect? No, but I think it'll work. Okay. This one should be fine too. That one's really thick, so that's going to be really not fun to sew over. But, oh, it's crooked. You know what? That's just my life. This is me crafting. Look at that. Is this the front or the back? Okay, it's the back. Thank goodness. Do I know how that happened? Heck no. Probably because I sewed the seams. They weren't perfectly straight because it's a haphazard quilt. So, it is what it is. That's just what I'm going to say about it. Now I've got myself confused as to which way I went. This way. That one feels better. Leave that on there for just a minute. Yeah. Okay, so my next step is going to be the inside. What I did with my daughter's Christmas journal, and I will do it with this too. This is some very thin, this was actually the back of a paper pad that I had. It was one that didn't have a hard cardstock on the back. It's really thin. And so what I'm going to do is adhere it inside of this fold. The reason being is because of all of these where you can feel the edge. If I just put the fabric on there, I think you would be able to feel these seams, and I don't like the thought of that. So if I put this cardstock in there and put this on there, you will not be able to feel that. So I've got to adhere those in there, inside there. And that's fun because you've got to get it in there pretty quick once that, I use this stuff. and it works really, really well. So I've got to do that. Also, I just remembered, I want to find some ribbon to make a ribbon closure. And when I do that, I have to put it on now. It has to go in here now so that it is in between the layers and it is firmly adhered. So I'm going to take a break, and during that break, I'm going to adhere this in here with some of the spray glue. I'm going to adhere those in there. And then I'm also going to find the ribbon because I forgot to pick out a ribbon. And I'll come back and we'll adhere that there and we'll adhere that in there. So we'll be back in just a minute. Okay. Oh, this has been a day. Okay. I have this adhered in here. So it's in there. That's ready to go. And I have picked out some ribbon. It took a little doing. I wanted blue to start with, but I just couldn't get a blue to work right with the interior. I just didn't have anything in my stash that looked right. So this is what I ended up with. It's more of it's not shiny and satiny. It's I don't even know what you call this. Is that cross grain ribbon? I'm not really sure, but it's got more of a homespun feel to it. To me, I did have, some white satiny I could have used, but I don't know, it just didn't feel right with this journal. Almost did a yellow, and it is pretty with it, but it's gonna, when it's showing, when you open the book, it's gonna, I feel, limit me on my first page, and I haven't picked out my pages yet, so I don't want to be limited on that. So I have decided to go with this. It's the most generic, easiest to use. So what I need to do is figure out the approximate middle of this. This is about, I have a ruler somewhere that does that for me. If I could find it. I can't find it. I don't know what I did with it. Okay. And I am not good with math, people. I can just tell you that right now. It's reading different at the corners for some reason. Okay, now if I can figure out a half of that. This is going to be 4. Right in here, I think. Whatever that is. Because it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. There. Don't you love my math skills? Hey, it works, right? So that is about halfway. It's 4, 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to mark it in a couple of places. Ooh, not there because I won't be able to write on that. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Draw me a line across there. Okay. Do the same on the other side. Make sure it's measuring the same. Yep. Draw my line. I think I'm going to do this just to make sure. Got that one off somehow. Okay, close enough. All right, I have cut me 2 pieces of ribbon. There they are. And now what I'm going to do is glue them in along, keeping it as centered as much as I can, along this line. And it should give me enough to make a bow with. Okay, let's do that. Let me tell you, Oh, and you want a good amount of glue on this because it's not going to show anyway. But you really want to make sure it's in there. But what I was just going to say is doing all this gluing is very bad for a manicure. Just want to say. I've got glue stuck to my fingernails pretty bad. So I will be doing a new manicure. Okay. Really want to get that down there really, really good. Because it will take a lot of tugging. All right, now we get our other one. And that's why I put it all the way across the back. It really gets it in there good. Oh, funny story. If you watched my Christmas journal flip through of my daughter's Christmas journal, you will know that I put a bookmark in it, which I've never done one before. Adhered it down the center and had it sticking out for her to be able to use. And we laughed about this. We did, me and her. But partway through using her Christmas journal, we were chatting one day on FaceTime. And she realized that that day she snipped it off accidentally. So it was sticking out the top about that far. And she was like, where did that ribbon come from? And then it dawned on her, oh, I snipped off the bookmark. So she actually punched a hole in one of the corners of the pages and she tied it in there and wrote down the little funny story of it that day in her journal. I told her, I said, that makes a very funny story to put in your journal. That's really great. Okay, so what I did, got it stuck down in there and I fold the thing together and I want to make sure it is coming out the same on both sides. Because it would be really bad if I had one up here and one down here. That would just be terrible. Okay. So that's got that in. So next step is putting this in. And again, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this aside. And I'm going to fold in my edges like I did the other and adhere that. I think I'm going to use some art glitter glue. I got these little bottles on Amazon. And boy, they work really good for this. Has the little, look at the glue stuck to me. Has this little rubber thing that keeps it closed pretty well. And it's really great. But this will give me just a little bit of a temporary tack without being too thick. Again, we're going to have that corner issue. Me and corners. We'll leave that alone. This will just make it easier for me to put the inside onto the cover. I've had so many stops and starts to this video today, and I apologize for that. I knew I would with having to stop and, you know, spray, since I have to go outside to do the spraying. I knew I would, plus I've had some other uh-ohs. That it's taken me so long, though my light is changing so badly. So I do apologize if you can't see well. Forgot to charge my little lights I have up above me, above my work desk, because they're where you hook them up to the USB thing and recharge them. Oh, I forgot to do that. Okay, these are already sort of cut, so let me see what I can do with them. Oh, did I not glue that side? Silly me. Okay. I was watching a lady's video one day and she was just cracking me up. She's from somewhere in Great Britain. I cannot remember her name, but she would, you know, make some little uh-oh on hers, and she'd be like, "You daft woman," and I cracked up. So I have said that plenty of times in chatting with my daughter. I'd be doing something of a, "You daft woman," not calling her that, but calling myself that. And she makes her giggle. I just thought it was a funny thing. "You daft woman." Okay, corner number 1. Let me put a little clip on it just to help hold it. And move on. Okay. Somehow I managed to cut these okay. I just got glue on the outside. Ish. Okay-ish. It'll work. You know, I've watched so many people do these things, and they talk about how to do the corners. And you know, they can talk about it all day long, but it doesn't mean I can do it. I have tried, and I've tried, and I've tried. And so it is what it is on the corners. That's just all I can say. I'm not the best at them. But like I said, I reassure myself it's okay. And then if I have to, I'll put a pretty corner on it. Okay. We're almost there, people. I wanted to do the whole cover today. May have been a mistake. I'm not sure how long this video is going to end up being, since I've had to piece it together so much. But I'm going to try. Trying to get it to lay as flat as I can. I don't want too much bulk in the corners because it's going to make it really hard to sew. And I don't need that. I don't need to break needles. I'll mess up my nice little sewing machine I love so much. Okay, one more corner. Yay! Okay. I'm just kind of folding that corner in a little bit to make it more of an angle instead of straight like I had it when I ironed it. Yay. Okay, found my little thing for the top of my glue. Put a clip on this for just a minute. That art glitter glue dries really quick, which I love. Okay. All right. Hopefully this will fit like I have it planned. Hopefully. Looking pretty good so far. Okay. Are we ready? Are we ready? Giving that just a second to really kind of stick there. All right, let's do it. I'm going to use Fabri-Tac because I want it to adhere pretty darn good. I am going to try not to get it close to the edges because I am going to sew around it, and I want to be able to do that today. I'm going to get a really good coat over this for sure. Because I'm doing cardboard to cardboard, wanting a pretty good amount, and it won't show through like if you know, had it to fabric. Fabric, you have to be really careful because it will bleed through, which is not a good thing. Nope. This thing came from Dollar Tree. It's a silicone makeup brush. Absolutely fabulous for spreading this glue, because it will, once it dries, it just peels right off of it, which is wonderful. I'm going to add a little more glue on this ribbon. I really want to make sure that it adheres. It'd be terrible if it pulled right out, you know what I mean? Okay, set this aside. And away we go. So I think I am going to take it from here. And I am going to spread it out to make sure it's going to fit okay before I really swoosh it down. Okay, I like that. So we're going to put this down. You can feel Fabri-Tac that it's cold when you first start adhering it, and then it warms up, and that's the way you know that it's really sticking. You can feel it cold when it first goes down, and then it warms up. Love that. I love this fabric. I don't even know where I got it from. It's just in my stash. It almost looked like it was like somebody had started to do a sleeve and then maybe took it apart, or took apart a sleeve, because I just had a really irregular shaped piece. All right, now we're going to do this part. Actually, I'm going to start with the, I guess you'd call it the shoulders of the book, the little groove. And I have to be a little more careful here because it is cardboard to fabric, and I don't want it to bleed through. So I'm putting a thinner coat. Really spread it out. Also going to use, if I can find it, a little tool here to make sure it gets in that groove really well. I don't like the way it's doing that. I can see what it is. The fabric has come loose from the cardstock I put it on, so I'm going to get in there and lightly spread a little of this, so maybe it'll stop that wrinkle. Now I'll stick that down. Let's hope that stops it, because I hate wrinkles. I don't want any wrinkles in the cover if I can help it. And I do this all the time. I lost the little lid to that thing. Ah, there it is. You do want to close that up because it will dry out pretty quickly in the tip of that little needle thing. And once I sew it, it will help as well. But boy, I hate wrinkles. If it wrinkles, I'm going to be very upset. Okay. So far, okay. Let's see if I can get in there and add a little more. It's a little difficult since I put that glue in the shoulder of it there. But I did that and then discovered the stuff is coming loose from the... Normally that craft bond I used works really, really well. But I think my husband was distracting me or something when I came in and I didn't get it adhered as quick as I should have. We'll see if that helps any before I go smushing the rest of this down. That's better. I don't know if you could see it. You probably couldn't on camera, but when I folded it, it was wrinkling up really bad here, and that made me very unhappy. I didn't want that. Okay. Now I think we're getting somewhere. I got this thing from the Dollar Tree too, and it works really good at doing this little groove. I really like using that. Okay. I don't know if you can see that little bit of a groove there that we got going on. All right, put your lid back on your glue, you daft woman. Okay. So now we go back to this. This stuff starts thickening up on you over time. And you know, I've heard of people that add acetone to it to thin it out. I have never had good luck with that. That's one of them crafting things that I somehow have not acquired the talent for. So I'm not sure if I'm using the wrong product or what. So when it gets too thick on me, I'll just toss it and get a new one. Okay, again, spreading this out really well because I don't want that to show through. I know the stitches are going to be through there, but I still don't want it to show through. Again, you can feel that cold. It's really odd how it does that, isn't it? You will see a bit of puffiness here and here, but that's okay. When I stitch it, that will hold that down. That's just where those two fabrics are folded together. Okay, now once again we do this little shoulder part. Again, making sure that we don't put too much. We want a thin coat in there. Okay. We fold it in. Use my little tool, and I'm using the bigger end of it just to kind of help it get in that little groove. And we'll also do a little folding. That's one thing I love about this style journal, is that you can fold this stuff like crazy. It will lay pretty flat. Look at you. Look at you. You know, if I make these off camera, I don't have this issue. It's the weirdest thing. Give it a bit of a tug. If I can get it adhered good, shouldn't have that issue. Okay, last part. Yay. I know if you're still here, you're probably like, taking long enough. Again, a good coat over that ribbon. Not going to the edges. Go the edge here, but not to the edges where I'm going to sew. Okay, spread it out. All right. Here we go. The last part. And you're going to do some wrinkling on me, aren't you? Aren't you? Let's get it stuck really good. It's one of them things I'm going to have to say, if it wrinkles some, it wrinkles some. Okay. All right. I think I'm going to cut this video off here because I have stressed myself out now. And before I come back, I will sew around all of the edges, and that's going to take me a while. And by the time I get that done, my light will be gone here. It's just all there is to it. So this is what we got so far, though, and it's looking pretty good. I like that. Not bad. All right, so this will be all for today. If you stuck with me, thank you so much. I appreciate you. You're fabulous. And I'm going to call it quits here. So may God bless you and keep you safe. All right, everyone. This is the next day, but I thought I'd come on here real quick and show you that I did get the sewing complete. So if you can see, I have sewn all the way around the edges. You can barely see it in here because I used the white thread and it kind of blends in. But that means the cover is done. So next time when I come back, we'll be starting to work on some pages. Yay! Anyway, may God bless you and keep you safe.